Hello there, this is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. We have a nice three-piece project going on here of a gift box, a card, and a tag. And this is created from the Sentimental Christmas Suite Collection in the 2024 holiday catalog. This is my favorite suite collection. It's very whimsy. I especially love the vintage. So I have a couple sample projects I made for you. This is a Thanksgiving box. I kind of stepped up to do our project today that I was going to give to a friend last week for Friendsgiving, but instead ended up with this horrible, horrible flu that completely ruined my weekend. And I was fine for 3 days, and now I'm sick again and hating life. So anyhow, enough about, my sorry saga there. This is a very large box. If you were to take the cap off a Bath and Body Works like shower gel, it would fit in there perfectly. I mean, that's how large this box is. And it's about, 5.5 across, an inch and a half width, and about 3.5 inches deep. So that is a really good sized box. You can fit whatever you want and a ton of other things in there too. This box here that is created from our Marbled Elegance Suite collection that is currently available to you, that came out a couple weeks ago, or I think last week, early December. And that focuses mainly on Valentine's Day and things like that. But this is an online exclusive product here, so it's going to be around for a while. And this is a nice suite collection. We really don't have anything coming up in the spring catalog for Valentine's Day. I mean, we do like a bundle here and there and in the celebration, but nothing sweet collection-ish, so to speak. So for these next two samples I have coming up, this is for the spring catalog that will be released a month from today on January 7th. And this is my favorite suite collection in this brochure. It's huge. It's one of those that has two stamp sets, two die cuts, two designer series paper, ribbon, embellishments, all of that. And again, it's very whimsical, very vintagey, Easter oriented, but the sentiments can go with anything from a baby to spring, birthday, whatever you want. And as always, the die cuts will cut out the images, some of the bunny images that you can see in the designer series paper there. And all these projects I brought in from the outside greetings of the season die cuts that I used to make my tags with. I'll get back to that in a minute. A couple years ago, remember we had some silver mesh ribbon like that for Halloween. Now we have it in gold that goes with this wildflower birthday suite collection. Just when you think you have enough birthday stuff, you want this one. The paper is phenomenal in it. Both of those suite collections, you get 2 pages of ephemera, and they're large for scrapbookers, everything like that. And there's a lot of banners, numbers in this. And it's this online note. This is just, for the spring catalog. Good pastel colors, and there's an awful lot that you can do with this kit. But like I said before, the only thing I brought in was Greeting of the Seasons dies. And so that's online exclusives. You will want to pick that up. And we're going to get started with our box project now. Now this box is super easy to make. I'm bringing in my scoreboard. We have 8.5 by 10.25, like you're seeing right there. So over on the 8.5 side, and I blow it here, but I fix it. I don't fix it, but just hear me out. Listen to me. You want to score at 1.5 inches on each side in, like you see there. And I flip it over and I do like 3/8 there rather than a half. I'm still able to put the box together, but like I said, I fix it and I'll get to that later on. So 1.5 on each side. Flip it over to the 10.25 inch side, and then you want to score it 3/4 of an inch, 2.25. We have 5.5, and then go over to 7. Now I will have all of this over on the blog at cindybdesigns.com. There's a link directly to the blog post in this YouTube description. So that is what we are looking like. We're talking maybe 4 cuts or so, and then you just pop that thing together, and really, really easy. And I did the hard work for you, as in the hints and tips and how to line your designer series paper up and everything like that. So you don't have to. And I slowed it down so you can craft along with me if you wanted to. Anytime I do something like this, you want to have a point of reference on any box card, anything like that. So in order for me to keep what I'm doing straight in my mind, that 3/4 inch flap that we're going to be using, that's going to fold into the box, that is, I'm going to have everything centered off of that. All you need to make this box is one piece of designer series paper that's cut to 5 1/4 by 12, and then the leftovers that you have from that, you can do the outside of the card like you see, and the inside, and maybe a square inch or something left over for the tag if you want. So with this here, pay attention to your orientation if you have a pattern like this. And I have all the quadrants lined up for you on the box and everything. Your first cut, and you want to go at the top of the paper there, is going to be at 1 1/2 inches. And that's going to be like panel 1. In the back, it's going to be 2, 3, and then 4. And then when you fold that over and flip it up, it all lines up. I wasn't sure if I was able to get all that out in time or not, but I guess I did. So for the next cut, you want to keep cutting, along with the designer series paper. That's going to be 3 inches. And that's going to go at the very back of the box I showed you right there that I'm showing you. And we'll flip all that together and around as we get everything glued. Because with this box, I'm more of like measure 3 times and cut once. And then our next piece is going to be again at, okay, come on. Did I lose my train of thought here? Which I absolutely did because I'm sick and the Mucinex is kicking in. 1 1/4, and then this one is 3. So it's always going to be 5 1/4 by either 1 1/4 or 3 inches. And again, everything will be over there. That is what I have left over. And like I said earlier, that's going to go on the card tag, wherever else I want it to go. So there's no waste here. So now I am going to speed it up a little bit because we're going to be doing some cutting and adhering. Now, once again, I have that point of reference towards me in the front, and that is going to be the flap to close in the box. So right outside that score line, I'm going to cut that, and then again on the outside, and I'm going to miter that in just a teeny tiny bit on the outside of the lines, like not on the inside, but on the outside. And with that top there, you're going to have to wing it. With all these boxes I've done, you're going to end up slicing a little bit more off, but you'll know that when you fold up, and it's really not a drag. So I'm doing the same thing to that. I'm just, where the score line is, I'm basically just snipping around that, getting those little teeny tiny miters in. A lot of people, excuse me, cold, like to do all their score lines, like fold them up before they do the cutting. I see better if I don't do that, and I know that may sound weird, but it works for me. So just, make it work for you. And I see better also when I adhere the designer series paper down. All those creases aren't getting in my way. So that's just how, like I said, my brain works. So when you're cutting up those flaps there, you want them to match the other side too, like they're both going in towards the center of the box. Because I've cut them wonky before, and it works out, but it's just not pretty. So those are our flaps. Now, you want to cut by your point of reference there, those in half, because you don't need all of that just to fold that box top in there. And it's easier that way too. And I just kind of eyeballed what I was going to do as far as cutting them off. So the next thing I did here was I grabbed garden green from ink pad from the Sentimental stamp set, and I grabbed that little bow in there, and I'm just going to do some tone-on-tone stamping on the lid, the flap that's going to fold on into the box. And then I'm going to put some on the sides as well too. That's going to be on the outside of the box. That's optional. That's up to you. You can use designer series paper, anything else you want to use, doodle in there, grab some ephemera, stickers, whatever you want to do. Like I said, this is just an option. So while I'm doing all of that, I hope that those of you in California are okay from that 7.0. My youngest son actually lives in Scotia, and he hates earthquakes. And there, I'll talk about that a little bit later. There's a story. So what I'm going to do now is put our adhesive on, and there's really not that much. You just put a couple on the tabs there. I like using tear and tape for this because I want, my box to stay together. So you want to put your tear and tape on those two middle tabs there, however much you want. And I kind of overshot it. I'm going to have to cut a little bit off. Flip it over, and remember, keep your point of reference by you too. I always keep mine towards me, and that just kind of helps me keep everything straight. So flip it over, and then you want to put two strips on that bottom tab there, for lack of a better term. And that's what we're going to use to fold up onto the box itself. I like to take a bone folder and just kind of, adhere that down, not adhere it down, but get it stuck to the cardstock a little bit more. So I'm doing that, and then we are going to adhere our designer series paper now. I'm going to go ahead and lay this down with liquid adhesive because that way it gives me some wiggle room. I did give myself about a 1/4 inch on each side, and I did give you the measurements for that at the beginning, but like I said, they will be over on the blog, which will be later on this afternoon because I still have to do that blog post. And this is where, after putting together all those boxes earlier this week, I'm like, wait a second, my designer series paper it's wonky here. I shouldn't have the margins on the left and the right that I do. And that's where I'm kind of figuring out a little bit. I blew it maybe, but I'm going to keep going because I've come this far already. So what I end up doing after we put all that together is I turn off the camera and then I completely remake this box all over again the exact same way off screen, and then come back and then complete it, really tie that bow on and everything like that. So you see me constantly fold the box up there to make sure I'm putting down my desired series paper the right way. For that panel 3 there, that's going to be the back side. So when you set the box up on its bottom there, which is the green one left, you want to make sure that that is, for the bottom on up, it's straight. And then the bottom panel there, it really doesn't matter which direction you put it in. I just put it that way because it was facing the front panel, so why not? Got all that adhered down. And now I'm going to take my bone folder and really give the cardstock a nice crease on all of those score lines there. So back to that earthquake, they got a tsunami warning and everything like that. And then Scott's like, I'm debating on whether to get to high ground. It's like, just get your car back in the car and get to high ground now. Don't mess with it. But he said his house is kind of a wreck, and I'm waiting for pictures. And yeah, I'm just glad he's okay. So I hope that you guys are too. I'm pulling off the tape on that tear and tape. And despite the fact that we had that little teeny tiny miter in there, you don't want to overshoot your adhesive as far as like line everything up perfectly. You want it touching the bottom on the inside, definitely. And then I'm looking at that over on the left. It's like, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. This is not going as planned. So I cut that out. And I do end up putting together the rest of the box for you. And like I said before, the ribbon, I do put it together. It barely, I mean, you can tell something's wrong with it. But again, I go off screen and finish off the rest. But you can see what a big box that is. Now, for that front panel there, you want to put like a little notch in the front of it, in the center. You can either do that after you put the box together or in the process of it, because if you want to die cut something in there, you want to die cut it first before you put it together. And that's what I mean by the flaps on the outside there. You're going to have to miter them in a little bit more when you get ready to put everything together. And it all works out. Now you can see there over on the right, it's like, wait, this is, kind of dipping in there a little bit. So this is when I'm taking my punch and I'm putting that little slot in there. And hopefully I'll be going off screen in a minute or so. No, I'm going to do the die hard there and put the ribbon on. Now, when I put this on the right way or on the right box, I do put some tear and tape on the back of the box just to keep that down. Because when you untie the ribbon, excuse me, that card's going to come out or it's going to be pulled out along with the tag. But that is how you get into the inside gift that you have is when you untie it. And so this way, if you adhere it down with some tear and tape on the back, no one's going to see it. And when they open it up, it'll make the box reusable and they can pull out whatever gift that you have is on the inside. So this is when I go off screen and then completely redo the entire box and then come back. Now, this entire ensemble was created from the Sentimental Christmas Suite collection. Okay, that's where I fixed the box. And I only brought in the greetings of the season dies from the outside, that punch, and some gold linen thread. I mean, that is it. So you can make this off that one suite collection. This is tissue paper that I keep from all of my paper pumpkin kits, and that's a lot of candy there, a lot. I put like 10 pieces of the Reese's in and then two of the chocolate York stars, and it's halfway full. So I could fit a lot more in there. That is how big that box is. So I'm getting everything together there and folding everything up, and I'm going to tie a bow into it. And these are simple, easy projects. I mean, the only thing I did for the tag is cut out a stocking from the designer series paper. But there's some great line art images in the stamp set. I mean, coloring and everything like that. But since this is a little bit involved, it was easier for me just to go ahead and use the designer series paper and let that do the hard work for me. So for our card, you want to cut that to 5 1/4 by 6 and then score it at 3 inches on the 6 inch side. And then for the designer series paper and on the inside, you want to cut that to 2 3/4 by 5. And that piece of DSP is left over from our 5 1/4 by 12 that we started out with at the very beginning. And I'm just going to adhere that on so everything matches. Normally, I would have flip that over to use opposite pattern on our paper. I didn't like the stripes because that way it wouldn't look so matchy, but I just didn't like the stripes, so I went ahead and put it down. So I went ahead and did the inside of our card for you. I showed you. And then I took a piece of scratch paper of basic white and I'm going to stamp our sentiment down with garden green ink. And looking at this, I kind of wish I'd done it in Poppy Parade and then done the greenery in garden green, but you know what? It worked out okay. So I'm picking my dies. Now, with these die cuts, they are all meant to be nested within each other and coordinate back and forth. And they're tags, but you can easily tag dies, but you can easily cover up the hole in there with an embellishment or something like that, like I do with this. So I'm getting that sentiment down in garden green ink. And you saw me over there picking out which tag I was going to use. And I'm just going to get that down kind of like, because I went outside the stamp a little bit and I don't want the edges of it laying down or anything like that. And then it was looking kind of dull to me a little bit. And I thought, well, should I put another sentiment down below that or some greenery? And then I chose some greenery at the last minute, wave it in the air there just to, you know, give it time for the ink to dry a little bit. And I'm going to line everything up there, got a piece of low tack tape, and then I'm going to turn around and run that through my Stampin' Cut and emboss machine. So while I'm doing all that, I do want to apologize for no video last week over Thanksgiving. I was sicker than a dog. It was awful, and yeah, that's just what's not going to happen no matter what. I couldn't even get to the laptop to say, hey, no video. So hopefully things are, working out here a little bit. Got that die cut out, and this is where I realize I need a little bit of something on the bottom there. What do I do? And I'm going to bring in Poppy Parade in that little kind of holly berry image there. And as I stated earlier, I wish I'd kind of flipped the colors around, but it all worked out anyway, and I'm good with that. And I think, did I change my mind or what? Oh, I wasn't sure what image I was going to put on the bottom there. Okay, that's what happened. Because I did this like on Monday or Tuesday, and I'm doing this voiceover Saturday morning and get it up on YouTube like right after I do this. And my head blew up in between now and then with, this cold going on. Got that down, get the ink off that, and I think we are going to complete this card. Yeah, my battery died. I'm putting down some seal adhesive and I'm pulling in that gold linen thread from the Marbled Elegant Suite collection. And I'm going to loop that around a few times and make a big cheater's bow out of it. Just making my sentiments, making sure it's going to line up there correctly. Cut that down there. I still need to tail at the other end. Just going to lay a link down there. Big cheat. Pull out the stamped dimensionals on the back of our sentiment. Lay that down. And then I'm going to grab one of those medium-sized gold druzy embellishments there and then pop that down over that hole and our tag will be done. Very clean, very simple, but yet attractive too at the same time, and let that designer series paper work for you. That's going to tuck perfectly right underneath the ribbon on top of that box. Cute little gift. So for our tag, I'm pulling in garden green and that large tag there, and then basic white cardstock with that kind of hexagon shaped tag there, and the designer series paper that's going to cut along with those dies the stocking and that cute little bow. And I'm just going to get both of those down with low tack tape and then end up turning around and then running them through the stamp, that die cut machine. I can't say it all because I'm so stuffed up right now and I'm going to trip over my words. So I'm pulling in some golden green, see, I'm tripping, garden green ink, and not tripping that way, but tripping over my words. I think that Mucinex is kicking in. Anyhow, the garden green ink, and I'm stamping that all around the tag there just to give it a little bit of interest in the background. And then that white die cut tag, that's going to go on top of it. But I need a sentiment for the very bottom there. So I'm going to pull that in and then just that little sentiment of for someone special, that's going to go at the bottom in garden green ink. And while I'm doing that, our designer series paper, I think the weight on that is the same as our basic white regular, but I'm neurotic. It's less than 100-pound weight, and I always like to cut another piece of paper out of the same die and then adhere that to the back of it just to give it some more stability. So that is what I did to the stocking die. The rest of this tag is pretty self-explanatory and you can watch me do it. In the meantime, we have 3 minutes left. And since I didn't do anything during Thanksgiving week because I was sick and, I got really, really, really behind. So what I have coming up is, okay, Snowy Scenes Sweet Collection. That is my December card kit to go. And you want to take a look over at that on the blog. And then go over to, well, actually stay here at YouTube. And if you commented on the paper pumpkin kit, the winner is there. And I forgot her name, but it was like the second entry. So go see that. New online exclusives I told you about that came out earlier this month. Paper pumpkin, that's going to be coming up probably, right before Christmas. You have another 3 days to subscribe to that by the 10th and be sure to pick up the dies. Free shipping Monday through Wednesday this week. And we have 3 new designer series papers. They're not really new. They're older ones, but they were just recolored in today's colors. So go ahead and check that out. And there is a clearance rack refresh. we're looking at, a lot off on what's currently in the holiday catalog right now. And that's still a month out from retiring. So go ahead and check that out and grab what you want to grab. Um, what I think that was it. And I'll have, more info like that on the blog and everything. So I got my bow adhere down to the stocking there with a mini glue dot. I'm popping dimensionals on the back of our stocking there, and that is going to be it for our tag. I don't think I put any embellishments on that, no, because I do have the gold thread to kind of keep that gold thing going there. So that is what everything is looking like. Really, really easy, simple project. It does, it really does not take a long time to make it all. You can make it as easy as you want, as complicated or, doll it up as much as you want, any occasion, any colors. Um, no waste, to be honest with you, as far as your designer series paper goes. And it's a great way to use up your suite collections, your bundles, whatever you have, and even your 6x6 paper, because you don't have to measure anything outside of that. So be sure to sign up for my newsletter because I'm going to be putting everything in there that I mentioned to you today. And be sure to share this video, hit like and subscribe, leave me a comment, and I hope that you guys have a great week. And I will see you back again next Saturday for another video. And if you want to see me do any projects for you or anything like that, just shoot me off an email and let me go or let me know. And I'm bringing back in the other boxes I made for you earlier. And the pictures are going to be better. I have no idea what's going on. So, again, thank you for joining me today. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you again next Saturday.